Hello. I'm sure you guys are going to ask why I'm not buying Metroid Dread. Uh, it's got nothing to do with money because I got paid today, and I got about $100 from the channel. So there's nothing stopping me from buying it. Uh, the reason I decided to not get it is I heard from a friend this morning, and I got confirmation on GameFAQs that it does not let you play with the D-pad, and that's a massive deal breaker for me. I've always played pretty much every platformer, every 2D game I play pretty much. With the exception of like KOF All Star, I always play with the D-pad. And I didn't feel right dropping $60 on something that I might not even like. I mean, the game itself looks good, but I don't want to commit to spending $60 on something that's going to force me to use the analog stick. There's no demo for one, so I can't test if I can even adapt to it. That's the main issue. If they had a demo for it, I'd be more willing to take a risk, but I'm not. I'm not paying that much. No, no, they force you to use the analog stick for movement. I really don't think I would be able to get used to that. I'd have to unlearn how I've been playing Metroid for like 28 years. I don't want to do that. Not at that price. I don't think. Maybe if they like patch that in or something. Is there? You know, let me check that right now. I think that's only on PlayStation, dude. Yeah, that's a huge deal breaker for me. I don't want to pay $60, and more importantly, I don't want you guys to hear me complain about it for like 8 hours. I'm checking right now. Huh. Yeah, I see what you're talking about. I see it in there. But it's $60 and I only got paid like 96 off the channel this month, so. What did they say? No, I haven't forgotten how to play video games. I'm trying to test the parry. Trying to figure out how to do the counter. Yeah, but I don't know how well that will work with the game, dude. I don't know how well that will work with it. It's just too high of a risk. It would take like a fat donation for me to take that risk. I'm not spending like 70% of my hard-earned money and make barely anything running this channel on something I might not even really be able to play. I don't think that's a good idea. There's other things I can play anyway. You can play more DFO. I've been enjoying that. Ah, okay, I see how this works. And I shouldn't have to do that. That's the thing. Why doesn't the right analog stick just let you do the aiming? Apparently it's like that because of the 360-degree aiming. But that's a bullshit excuse. I don't resonate with that at all. I'm glad I found out before I bought it, because I was gonna buy that game today. Yeah. I don't know. Nintendo's always been behind with accessibility, so it doesn't surprise me that a big game like that would be missing something that should be like already in the game. I subscribed to the Metroid Reddit a couple days ago, so I might just ask somebody on there. You know, maybe if they can try it. Like, how well does it work? How much does it screw up the controls and stuff? I don't have the disposable income. They'll probably patch it in. I'm sure they will. Just Nintendo games are always $60, so I have no reason to not wait. Not like, you know, Borderlands or Skyrim or like Tales of Berseria always on sale like every week. The cheapest that game's gonna be is like $40, and that's like 5 years from now. I don't really see why they need me to pay full price for me to not even know if I'll like it. I'm not even talking about the game itself, it's just playing with the analog stick. It's a really hard sell for me. I have an analog stick on this controller I'm using on the stream right now, and I don't use it for any 2D games. Never. The only exception I make is shmups, but shmups like barely count because, you know, they're arcade games. They're designed to be played with an arcade stick. But like just normal 2D stuff like this, I never use the analog stick. It feels way worse, less responsive. Most people feel that way, I'm sure. Yeah, I don't think Nintendo's going to go out of business if I don't buy that game. I think they'll survive as a company if I don't spend $65 on it. I was really looking forward to it too. I've watched like barely anything on that game, mostly blind. I watched like a couple minutes of gameplay earlier today. Somebody who got it early, but I've watched like barely any of the trailers. I went about as blind as I could for somebody who, you know, works on the internet in gaming. Obviously, you can't go like fully dark if one of your jobs involves being on the internet around gaming news and stuff. But I went into it, you know, pretty much completely blind until today. And I don't think you guys want to hear me complain about the analog stick for however long the game is. It's going to be Tales of Arise again. You know, just me getting pissed off. I don't want to. I don't want to buy something like that. I try to reduce the amount of full-price games I play that, you know, just piss me off, and I only have fun playing them in short bursts. It's not fun for you guys either. I don't have like a really the fun kind of rage. I have the whiny, frustrated, annoyed kind of rage. Not really good for the viewer. Nick Smash. I hear people actually like that game. I don't know, I'm not really a authority on Smash clones. I don't really like Smash itself, so buying a clone, no thanks. I haven't heard if the netcode's actually good though. And being better than Smash is a pretty low bar, but that would be cool for that community if it was. You know they're not gonna put it in, not gonna put good netcode in Ultimate. That ship has sailed. I'm sure the next one is probably gonna be the same. Whatever the next Smash is gonna be. I heard there's no voice acting. I watched a little bit of footage of that today, and it seemed really hollow. They felt like husks. Like, I know the game was made on a shoestring budget, and the publisher that's funding it, they're known for making really cheap games. But I feel like you gotta get at least get sound-alikes. You know, sound-alikes is not ideal either, especially for like really popular characters like SpongeBob. But having them not talk at all, it really does feel like I couldn't even say it feels like a fan game. Like this game I'm playing is, you know, they take voice lines at least. It's just watching that, and it's like, you know, it looks functional. I'm not really well versed in what makes a good platform fighter or not. I just don't like that genre. But just from like an outsider's view, like, why is there no voice acting? And even like older stuff like the Harry Potter games, you know, they didn't They didn't get Daniel Radcliffe to come back. They got a sound alike, you know, some generic British kid voice. I mean, even as a kid, you could tell, like, you know, that's not Daniel Radcliffe. But the fact that there was voice acting at all, it helped it to be more believable. Yeah, I don't know why they didn't do that, but I'm sure there's probably funds involved with that too. Yeah, that's the first thing I noticed about it. Like, no one talks. Guys broke the arcade machine, assholes. Broke those beautiful arcade cabs. Fuck you guys. Yeah, you get comboed now. Destroyed history. The fact that that game is even any good at all, it's like it's an anomaly, really. Like, if you look at the stuff that company publishes, like, most of it is like would pass for, you know, crappy, cheap license games that we grew up with. Pretty much anything based on a license that wasn't made in Japan. So not counting, like, you know, the X-Men games and you know, Marvel versus Capcom, the Disney games by Capcom, like, none of that. The random no-name American studios. But somehow they actually got people that had made a Smash clone in the past to make that. It's pretty obvious that they did the best job with what they were given, but the publisher didn't want to cough up money for voice acting, so the game feels like, I don't know how it feels, but like just watching it, it felt like this weird amalgamation of like being a professional game and then like being an indie game with lots of funding. You know, most indie games don't have voice acting. The vast majority of them don't. Because they barely have money to finish the game at all. They don't have money to get, like, you know, Johnny Young Bosch or Matthew Mercer or something. The money's better spent just finishing the game. But when you have iconic characters like SpongeBob and Aang and, like, Leonardo and shit, and they don't talk, it's really jarring. I think Battle for the Grid actually does that pretty well, in my opinion. You know, they did get a couple of the actors back. In my opinion, they got the most important ones. You know, they got Jason, they got Tommy, they got, you know, the Quantum Ranger Eric, and then they got Johnny on Bosch for Adam. But everybody else is a sound alike, and it's like, you're really not going to notice unless you watch the show recently. And none of them really have distinct voices for the most part. The ones that do, they got the original actors back, but they didn't. Actually, no, that's wrong. I forgot. I actually need to correct myself there. When it first came out, there was no voice acting. They added that a couple patches in. So maybe they will do that for the Nick Smash. It seems to be selling pretty well. A lot of the Smash players are playing it. Oh, that's good to know. I tried to use the cash shop on DFO earlier, and the game kept crashing. It's like, do you guys not want my money? I was trying to buy a package so I could work on some of my characters, but it kept crashing. Restarted my computer and everything, and my controller stopped working. Very odd day on that. And then this morning, I got carried through some of the endgame content, and this guy had like 750,000 ping. He must have been from like another galaxy or something. And the person that was selling the party, they were like, "Hey, you need to restart your client. I can't play with this kind of lag because that game is peer-to-peer. So if somebody's lagging, your attacks just go through the enemies." The guy was like laughing. He was being a complete jerk. And then he finally internet disconnected or something. Good to know some things never change in that game. One person's on a bad connection, it makes it unplayable. I mean, it's really not that much different from fighting games. It's just you're ruining the time of 3 other people, not just one. Double the amount of annoyed, pissed off people. We'll play that some more tonight, though. I'm going to work on the agent. I might buy the Castlevania Advance Collection today, too. I'll just do that and spend some cash on DFO. Instead of get Dread. Seems like a better idea. I'm getting pissed because I can't use the D-pad and you guys having to hear me complain about it nonstop. That's not going to be fun to watch. It's just shouldn't even be a problem, though. Indie games keep winning with accessibility. Big games are still so far behind. spoiled by Axel. He does so much damage, and he's got a hard knockdown. A lot of the other characters don't. Cool to try some other characters, though. I don't know if there's going to be any balance changes in the next version. I sent him a DM earlier today. Not earlier today, but yesterday. I haven't heard back from him yet. He's busy with other stuff, I guess. Oh, that was a sick punish. Big plays right there. I'm proud of that one. I'm gonna flex that one. I'm sorry. That was good shit right there. I'm saving that super just for him. That's it. Made short work of him. Seems like he's almost done. Told me he was gonna send me the files soon. That's why I've been playing this a lot. Plus, I've kind of been playing a lot of beat 'em ups lately. Playing Dungeon Fighter and this. I haven't really been touching my service games much. I haven't been playing PGR. I barely touched Pinnacle. They have some new story mode stuff in there I need to check out. I just haven't felt like it. It's not like I haven't had the time. It's a little burnt down on the game, I think. Well, they did add new story chapters, but I think the story is the worst part of that game. Because it's like an old school DMC campaign, lots of waiting and just puzzles and stuff. The pacing is not very good. I mean, you can't call it not authentic. It's just they fixed a lot of that in 5. Made it more like an arcade game. Nothing really wasting your time. And Pinnacle of Combat's campaign is like nothing like that. I just don't really feel like playing it. I'll probably sit down and do it later, especially now that I'm not going to be doing Metroid Dread. That game actually gets updated at a very slow pace. They don't update it that often. The banners get updated a lot, which, in that game is actually a considerable amount of content because you're getting, new moves and stuff, but, besides that, they don't really add that much to it. Which I kind of like. It's not really what I like to call a homework game. You have to be on it, every day for, really long periods of time, and it just starts to feel like a job. Pinnacle doesn't have that problem. You pretty much just play it at your own pace, which is nice. And they don't update at a breakneck pace, so if you log on and just do the Bloody Palace and then do the story in a couple hours, it doesn't really hurt you that much. It actually does a pretty good job, for a service game at least, it does a pretty good job of respecting your time. I might drop a couple bucks on that later. Actually, I'll buy the weekly card, and then wait until Virgil gets new stuff. They added Navon. They haven't added anything for Virgil. I like playing Dante in that game more in a lot of ways, but Dante doesn't have pity, so I don't really feel comfortable spending money. That's definitely something they need to fix. Ah, you bitch. I get the last word in, huh? Just raw super, huh? Jab into super. Nice hit confirmed. Asshole. Jabbing the super again. Wicked Zamza. Eat that. Bitch. Got him. This is Streets of Rage 2X. It's an open BOR game, yeah. As Streets of Rage 2 and 3, but with modern mechanics. There's combos and like parries and stuff. Yeah, I like it better than the remake. The remake is not really for me. I tried to remake it, I didn't like it as much as this. But you know, the remake for what it's worth is more the traditional gameplay. This is kind of like making it more like Streets 4, but with the old games. He's going to be adding Streets of Rage 1 to this very soon. Emphasis on some, yes. Not very many. Most open BR games are terrible. The vast majority of them. Or they're not terrible, they're just... There's nothing unique about them. You know, using the same sprites. Same sprites as everybody else, and the mechanics are just kind of like just Final Fight, but a lot worse balanced. There I am in the credits. There's a couple that slip through the cracks that are really nice. Actually, try to do something interesting. Not just punch and jump, but I mean like uh, paid beat 'em ups have that same problem. There's still a lot of beat 'em ups coming out that are just punch and jump. I just have to question like why. It's been proven you can do more with it than that. Basic isn't inherently bad. It's just that there's so many games like it, and open BOR games aren't known for their polish or balance. So you're playing something worse than Final Fight. Much worse polished and balanced than Final Fight. But the mechanics have like not changed. We're still using like 30-year-old mechanics. Um, you have to work really hard to find really good stuff on this engine, but if you do find good stuff, it's usually really enjoyable. I have a lot of hours in this game. Well, designing beat 'em ups is it's kind of a lost art. It's kind of becoming like black. You know how they say like there's barely anybody left that can blacksmith on par with people from medieval times. It's kind of like that with beat 'em ups. A lot of people have the heart and they have the passion for it, but they just don't know like what makes them fun to play, what makes them not frustrating to play. And it's unfortunate, but a lot of the modern beat 'em ups that come out kind of fall into that category. Maybe they never really dove deep into them when they were kids, or they just don't know like what really makes them tick. Well, Streets 4 is a good game because it's made by people who play fighting games. It's made by the French fighting game community, so the importance of letting you have fun with the combo system and like OTGs and stuff. There's lots of things that Streets 4 does that get taken for granted. The fact that you can actually fight over food items, which is something you could do in very few beat 'em ups. Classic beat 'em up bullshit situation is being on top of meat or whatever, and then you can't pick it up. You can't pick it up. You're trying to save it until the end of that wave, but you're on top of it right there, and what happens is you waste it. The fact that you don't have that problem in Streets 4 is fucking revolutionary. Everybody talks about the music and the gameplay and stuff, and like those are very good components of it too. But the fact that it has a pickup button is huge. Also, the fact that it has OTGs, it makes the pacing a lot better indirectly. Actually, I'd say directly, just because you're not stuck waiting for enemies to get up. You can actually kill them off right away. Which is what I like about that game I was just playing, this game, Streets of Rage 2X. I really like how they have that component. They knock them down, and if they're almost dead, you can still kill them. You don't have to wait up and wait. Oh, well. What Sega Genesis game? What are you talking about? I don't know what you're talking about. Oh, Paprium. Oh, that game is a meme. That game is a meme. Meme game. The guy the guy who developed it like went off the rails and shit. And the gameplay is like not even good. and it was in development. It was like vaporware for like years, and then just kind of randomly came out. That's a good example right there. Obviously, there's a lot of heart put into that game, but it's just like you have better options that are a hell of a lot easier to get to than having a having a Genesis and having spending like $90 on a cart for that. Like you could do a lot better than that game, and you can put a lot less effort into getting it. Go download this game I'm playing right now for free. It runs on a phone. It runs on a cheap laptop or a phone. It's completely free. You know, Streets 4 is on sale for like $15 all the time. You can go download a bunch of ROMs for arcade games and stuff. Takes no effort. The bar has been raised quite a bit by only like a couple of games, and it's just, unfortunately, a lot of them don't really get close. Well, you don't have much of an incentive to play them unless you're like trying to chronicle all of them and shit, but there's lots of horrendous beat 'em ups. The Paprium guy is crazy. They like had at one point they had a launch party for the game, and the game wasn't even out yet. Like, how the hell does that happen? The game didn't come out for like another 2-3 years, but they had a launch party for it in France or something. Okay, you have money. You have money to do that, but you can't finish the game. People paid for it like back in like 2012, and it came out like late last year. I'm glad that they delivered the game. I mean, that's more than most crowdfunded campaigns do. A lot of them take the money and just go on vacation, or they try to make the game, but they realize they have like no experience managing money, and they burn through all the money right away, and then they don't have money to make the game. That's happened numerous times. Like they had the intention of like actually making a playable product, but they burnt through the money too fast. Those people really poisoned the well when like crowdfunding, pretty much in general. Because now everybody has a second guess. You know, the game might not ever come out. Kind of proves you can't like. It doesn't matter how passionate you are, even if you have like game dev experience. Like, if you don't know how to manage your money and you don't know how to pay like, you don't know how to pay the people working for you, then it's not going to end well. Oh. There's definitely been some great crowdfunded games, but a lot of people on there are just looking for a quick buck. And they don't actually intend on making anything. Generally, you're pretty safe if like at least like the designers and shit, they actually have like game dev experience, be it indie or like AAA. And if it's just random people, I wouldn't put more than like $20 on those. It's like even if it gets funded, there's no guarantee it will be finished. I've definitely bought some games on Steam. I paid for them and then they never updated them. They did like one patch and then they just disappeared. I'm like, wow, fuck you guys. There was one, that Souls clone, where the guy had to stop developing it because I guess his family had a bunch of medical problems. But the guy came out and said it. It's like, look, I'm not in the financial, physical, or mental state to finish this game. So I'm just taking it out of early access and that's it. And people were understanding of that. Like, that's a legitimate reason. Like, you know, your family is falling apart and everybody's having medical problems and shit. You have to kind of prioritize that over making a video game, even if the game was moderately successful. It's when they just ghost you. That's what pisses me off. Like, I believed in your product that has, like, you know, 60 minutes of content. I paid full price for it. I feel like I'm at least owed, you know, an explanation, like, why did you just stop? A lot of times they're just like, oh, it's out of early. You didn't finish the damn game. Like, you didn't give your part of the deal. Yeah, it was a pretty big deal. That game apparently had a lot of promise, but the guy that was making it had, like, really bad personal stuff going on with his family. Honestly, in that situation, I would do the same thing. It's definitely going to burn bridges, but it's better than working yourself to death when you're already, like, you're already at your breaking point, like, mental health-wise. That's one of the few times where I've actually heard somebody working on an early access game actually giving a legitimate reason why they can't make it. Yeah, that's a completely good reason. And the fact that the guy was transparent is more than what most of those people can do. You can't fault the guy for stopping development on it. That's completely warranted. It's just that most of them don't even feel like people who supported your game are even worth like an explanation. I won't mention the game, but there was a game I did an overview for on here. They never updated it again, and I couldn't refund it because it'd been too late, so I essentially donated to shady-ass developers who didn't have any intention of ever finishing the game. Yeah, it's really easy to get review bombed. Common genre that gets done on is anything that's a service game, like a MMO or something. New World game. It was at mixed reviews just because, you know, it's an MMO. It's not gonna fucking work on the first day. And some people actually did not like the game, you know, for legitimate reasons, but most of the reviews were like, the game doesn't work on day one. I'm like, well, what were you expecting? They never work on the first day. Like, don't take time off work to play an MMO on launch day. You're better off going to work. But people still don't understand that. It'd be really hard to find a constructive opinion on like an MMO in like the first couple days, because the servers aren't going to work. People are dumb and they give a negative review for that. You know, it's like, you should expect that by this point. MMOs have been around for ages. Same thing every time. Did I play Guns the Duel? Yeah. I played the sequel for a while. I played that for a while. But that game died fast, kind of like most Anytime they try to make a sequel to a popular online game, it always backfires. Yeah, I have a jailbroken Vita too. I really only use it for homebrew. I use it for the Tales of Innocence English patch. That's basically it. Because emulation-wise, this phone can handle everything up to GameCube. I have no shortage of old games to play. I don't really need the Vita for that purpose anymore. But there's some nice ports and stuff on there that aren't on Android. That's really all I use it for. I played like pretty much every game I wanted to play on the Vita. All the genres I like. That's really all I wanted it for. I think that's like one library where I have no backlog whatsoever. I played like literally everything I liked on there to completion. Obviously the Vita doesn't have that many games, but I played through all of them. A lot of people like to blame the piracy. I guess it was a problem that you could just download the games and burn them on a CD, but it really, I don't think it affected the real reason the support dropped because the PS2 came out like barely a year later. The thing about the PS2 is that it was a DVD player at a time when those were still pretty expensive, and most people didn't have them in their households, so parents who were non-gamers could justify spending the money on a PS2 just because they could use it to play movies and stuff. Also, the Dreamcast has a very, very one-dimensional library. As much as I love the Dreamcast, I'll be the first to tell you that. If you like arcade games, that is one of the best libraries out there, because that was pretty much the first console, aside from a couple games on the Saturn, that could give you arcade-driven ports instead of skill downloads. But that's literally all it had. It had nothing else. There was no variety on that platform at all. If you grew up in the arcades, it was fucking cool. It's like, wow, this is like literally the exact same game, I can. But if you weren't into arcade games, there was piracy is kind of a scapegoat, if you ask me. And I know that for a fact because I had those bird games too. But you have to realize by the time all those boot discs and stuff came out, there was barely anything coming out for it. It was pretty much only Capcom was like the only major company that was still supporting it at that point. You had like one JRPG. You had a handful of Sonic games. And pretty much everything else was. Yeah, what Mr. Dynamite said. Shmups, fighting games, and beat 'em ups. Which was perfect for me, but even back then, when people were more accepting of niche genres, it just didn't have a lot to offer. The Dreamcast was ahead of its time. It just came out. It came out too soon. It came out at a really bad time. They had no chance against the PS2. It was dead on arrival. I hate to say that. I love the Dreamcast, but it just had no chance. It did not. It didn't even have the genre variety that the N64. And the N64 is kind of devoid of good games to play that aren't made by Nintendo. That was like the end of their first party support, the third party support. But there were still a larger variety of genres to play on the N64 than the Dreamcast. And here's my collection on here. It's like the vast majority on the platform. What genres are in here? Fighting games, a couple beat 'em ups, but yeah, it's like 90% beat 'em up, 90% fighting games. The novelty of having, arcade perfect ports was huge back then, because with shit ports on the Genesis, shit ports on the Genesis and Super Nintendo that were nowhere near as good as the arcade. Hokuto no Ken is Kusuge. It's just good Kusuge. It's a really broken game to watch. I love watching the tournaments for it. I'm decent at it, but I never really got top level. My arcade actually had the game for a while. That game it's great Kusuge. Alright, friends. Well, it is time for me to feed the cats. It's nice chatting with you guys. I should be on a little bit tonight. I gotta finish up my work over here. I'll head home and then we'll play some DFO tonight. Maybe some Forged and Shadow Torch. There's a couple of DMC and Kingdom Hearts mods I wanted to check out too. So I'll try to get to all that tonight. Yeah, I gotta feed the cats. It's getting really close to time. Here's Groupie. She's been sitting here the whole time. She's becoming a weak because she watches me play all these beat 'em ups and shit. She's learning about all the good games. Yeah. Hey, I'll show you what she does when I get up. Hold on. Come on, time to get up. Aww. Get a big stretch, huh? Yeah. Yeah, you guys hungry? Hey, Timmy. What's up, man? Yeah. We're gonna make your dinner now, okay? All right, guys. I'll see you guys. I don't know, shortly, around 10:30 or 11, about an hour. Catch you later. You want to support me? My link is there.